Howdy, y'all. I am FRF, First Round Finish MMA, and welcome to my very first video. And today we have Magomed Ankalaev versus Bogdan Guskov predictions. So let's get into it with the very first fight of the prelim cards with Cody Gibson versus Abdul Hussein. So let's get into it. All right, Abdul Hussein. He is 28 years old. He is 5'5", and he is on a 9-fight finish streak right now. And the last guy he has lost to is Muhammad Makayev, who would still be in the UFC today if he did not do any Diddy shit with Manel Cape, I believe. So this guy is an absolute machine. Can take you down. He can wrestle you. He can strike you up. He's basically going to do whatever he wants to Cody Gibson. Speaking of Cody Gibson, here he is. He's 38 years old. He's 5'10". He's got a 71-inch reach, and he is 21-12. This guy was actually cut from the UFC, went on the Ultimate Fighter, lost on the Ultimate Fighter, picked up a couple more wins, got back with the UFC, or he was still with the UFC, but he went on a 2-fight win streak after losing the Ultimate Fighter, and then has been on a 2-fight losing streak of, I believe, getting finished in the first round. So I really don't think this is going to be a competition. Of course, I do have Abdul Hussein in the first round. I'm going by submission because Cody Gibson hasn't really been knocked out. He got knocked out in his first fight, but that was in the first 20, 30 seconds. So I can see Hussein coming in with a good combination, rocking him pretty badly, maybe even dropping him, and then going into mount and maybe securing a arm triangle choke. So that's what I'm going to go with is Abdul Hussein, first round submission, arm triangle choke. Okay, let's get into the next fight with Habib's little nephew versus Mike Davis. All right, let's check these guys out. Okay, Nurullo Eliev. He is 25. He is 5'8". He has a 72-inch reach, and he is an undefeated 11-0. And he actually did score a TKO in his Dana White Contender Series fight. But after that, it's been 3 decisions. You really know what you're going to get with people who look like this in MMA. It's going to be a bunch of hug and tug, hot tub time, basically, is what they practice over there. But yeah, he's been on, obviously he's undefeated. He's 11-0. Great grappling and stuff like that. I mean, great grappling, holding against the cage, basically. So he's going to come in with that game plan, wild hooks, because none of them know how to strike, and he's going to try and hold Mike Davis against the cage because that's what they like to do. Alrighty, Mike Davis. He's 33 years old. He's 6 feet tall, and he has a 72.5-inch reach with a respectable record of 12 wins and 3 losses. With those 3 losses coming to Friziam, Gilbert Burns, and Sadiq Yusuf, which those aren't terrible losses to have or anything like that. But his last win was against Mitch Ramirez, which he just got dominated by Chase Hooper in the first round of last week. So it's not like this guy's anything crazy or anything like that. And in his last fight against Ziam, he pulled guard a couple of times, which is kind of strange. I don't know why he would try to do that with a bigger fighter and a lankier fighter than him, but that's what he wanted to do, and it kind of tired himself out. He kind of looked a little dazed in the second and third rounds, especially in the second round where he got cut open pretty bad and just slammed a couple times by Ziam. So I think it's kind of obvious what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Nurullo Aliev with a kind of clear 30-27 decision, or maybe even a 29-28 if Mike Davis can pull off a round or anything like that. I'm not sure completely. But yeah, I think he's just going to get controlled the whole time. This is going to be like a 12, 13 minute of control kind of thing. It's going to suck. I don't think this is going to be a great fight at all. I think it's going to be a very, very piss break, take a nap kind of fight. But yeah, Nurullo Aliev with a 30-27, 29-28 decision. All right, let's get into the next fight with Magomed Tukulov versus Brinson Ribeiro. Who are these guys? Magomed Tukulov. He is 26. He is 6'5" with almost an 80-inch reach, and he is undefeated. The thing is, though, about being undefeated with a 6-0, a 7-0, an 8-0, it just depends on where you're starting out. He is not fighting the greatest competition, but he is just starching them in the first and second round, taking them down, choking them out, or just blasting them with a right hook or something like that, which he did do to Chow Machado, who actually went to a split decision with Brinson Ribeiro. Tukulov just immediately just starched him with a right hand, and I don't think Brinson Ribeiro really stands a chance. But anyway, Brinson Ribeiro is this guy. 29 years old, 6'3", 81 inches of reach, and a kind of, just a mid record of 17, 10, and 1 known contest. This guy is on I think a 3-fight first round losing streak. He's just getting starched by these guys. He is not UFC caliber. Yeah, I mean, he's just not a good fighter, man. He's just gonna get starched in the first round. That's I hate to say it. I hate to, I mean, not even like bring up his stats or anything, but like we know what's going to happen with these kinds of fights. This guy is going to get smoked. Like it's just what's going to happen. There you go. So I do have a Tukalov for a first round KO. I think could play out like the Machado fight. Just getting started, getting started in the immediate. Like maybe this is going to be like a 2 minute fight. I'm calling it. Ismail Bonfim versus Axel Solo. All right. 30 years old, 5'8", 71.5-inch reach with a 20-6 record. Ismail Bonfim won his Contender Series debut and then went on to have one of my favorite finishes, knocking the mouthpiece out of Terrence McKinney and then hitting a perfect flying knee to send McKinney straight to the Shadow Realm. Now, Bonfim is not a terrible UFC fighter, even though he is on a 2-fight losing streak, coming from a doctor stoppage due to a question mark kick right to the eye where he just couldn't see out of it, and then to Chris Padilla, who stopped him in the second round, which he was having an all right first round, but then Taco Padilla kept just piecing him up a little bit, hit a kind of a back of the head elbow strike, hit another elbow strike, and then he kind of just laid there and took a bunch of ground and pound. Honestly, he kind of just quit in the fight in the second round. Axel Sola. He is 28 years old. He's 6 feet tall with a 74-inch reach and a record of 11-1-1. Axel Sola is a pretty good prospect. He did lose his last fight to Mason Jones, but that was one of the just bridge burning performances I've ever seen. Mason Jones was throwing literally everything he could with him. It looked like a UFC 6 fight when you were just spamming elbows and knees. This guy took like like 30 knees to the face in the last 10 seconds of round 3, and he just was eating all of them. He had a really nasty cut above I believe his right cheek. Just looked like he got sliced by a katana. But other than that, he has been great. He finished his UFC debut in the third round to a body shot, and before that, he was a regional champion with 4 title defenses. And he is I think he's a legit prospect coming into it, and I think he's going to find his shots against Bonfim. I do think Bonfim might be able to win the first round, but after that, I think it's just going to be all Axel Sola. He's going to come in with that relentless pressure and break down Bonfim. Bonfim also has missed weight a couple of times, so he might come in extra drained. No diddy. So yeah, I'm going with Axel Solo with a second or third round TKO, maybe connecting with another body shot or a spinning elbow and just maybe even flatlining him. But that's what we're going with. Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Sam Patterson. This is probably another easy fight to guess. Sam Patterson, he's 30 years old, 6'3", 78 inches of reach, and a record of 14-3-1. And this guy, he is usually an outstanding fighter unless you are just staring at your opponent or your opponent is just staring right back at you and you decide to not throw any shots in the entire fight, like what he did with MVP. But anyway, before that, he came in, won his UFC debut, and then got starched in the first round, and then came back with 4 straight first round finishes. And this guy's pretty legit. I think he is a good prospect in the UFC, maybe even overcoming the prospect with coming in and fighting MVP, which I guess, I mean, not really. It was a terrible fight. It was a really, really bad fight. But he is coming in and facing kind of a can, so here you go. Santiago Ponzinibbio. He's 39, 6 foot tall, 73-inch reach, and a record of 30-9. And I say somewhat of a can because right now he is just on his second half downward spiral of his UFC career. He had a really good run in the Brazilian local scene back like 15 years ago, and he made it on the Ultimate Fighter, had to pull out due to injury, and his last good win was against Neil Magny, I want to say maybe like 5 to 7 years ago. And after that, he got starched by Liang in the first round, and it's just been a downhill spiral since then. I believe he is 3-6 since then, and it's not going to be good for him to go up against a fighter like Sam Patterson, especially somebody who is just starching everybody, unless, like I said, you just stare at them for the whole fight. But anyway, Sam Patterson's going to get this done in the first round. It's not going to be pretty for Santiago, to say the least. Mohammed Saeed versus Dustin Jacoby. I forgot the why. I don't pay attention to that. Dustin Jacoby. He's 38 years old, 6'3", 76-inch reach, and a record of 22-9-1. Now, Dustin Jacoby, this unk is on a tear right now. He is on a 3-fight knockout streak, and honestly, it's a pretty big step up for somebody like Mohammed Saeed to straight out of the bat get Dustin Jacoby. This guy is he's pretty legit. He's nothing spectacular. He's not like this top guy coming in or just anything like that. But he's a legit unk, if that makes any sense. Coming in, losing to the top guys, but being able to take out the trash whenever he needs to. Mohammed Saeed, he's 30 years old, 6'2", couldn't find his reach, and he is undefeated with a 9-0 record. He doesn't have a background because he does not deserve one yet. This guy is an absolute can crusher, and not even a good can crusher at that. I mean, he is getting these guys out in the first or second round, but the last guy he fought was Enrique de Silva, who went to the UFC, won his first 2 fights, and then went on, I believe, a 4-fight losing streak, and just hasn't been that since. So this guy, you can't even really find anything about him. I mean, I saw that Enrique de Silva fight. He got starched in the first 2 minutes. It's nothing crazy about this guy. You just can't tell with these kinds of people coming into the UFC so early. And I get it. He is undefeated with a 9-0 record. That looks really good on paper. But then you just watch it and you realize he's beating these guys who are 3-1, 4-4, 17-8. It's just not legit. This is not a legit prospect. So I do have Dustin Jacoby winning by first round knockout. I mean, this unk is on a tear right now. I mean, an absolute tear, just taking these guys out. And I think the last couple of guys he's already beaten are better than Mohammed Saeed, and I hope he is here to prove it. I do not want these type of people coming into the UFC anymore with these 7-0 records, 8-0 records. And we do have a couple of these guys coming in with those kinds of records that are legit. Tommy McMillan has been putting on a couple of decent fight. I mean, not decent fight. This dude put on a fucking war in his last fight, and it was a very one-sided war. It was like when the U.S. dropped those bombs on Japan. It was really bad for the other team. But anyway, Dustin Jacoby, first round knockout. Get these guys out of the UFC. And for the next fight, we have Mr. Heel Hook himself, Walter Walker, versus Mr. Peter Griffin himself, Thomas Peterson. Walter Walker, 28 years old, 6'6", 78.5-inch reach with a record of 15-1. That one coming from his UFC debut, and since then he has been on a literal tearing of the knee and every ligament in your lower half of your goddamn body. He is literally just coming at these guys and tearing their legs off in the first 60 to 70 seconds of the very first round, and I do not think it's going to go any differently. He is going for the septuple heel hook, his 5th heel hook. And it's just crazy that they had to get this guy to accept a grappling challenge, is to give him a guy with no fucking lower half of his body. And he that's fucking wild that they set that up. That is one of the craziest mismatches I've ever seen. I understand that Justin Gaethje fought a guy with one arm, but imagine they sent out Justin Gaethje with a guy with no fucking arms at all. That is just wild, but that is going to be Walter Walker's plan, is coming on, getting a takedown, and going for that lower leg. Thomas Peterson, he's 31 years old, 6'1", 74-inch reach with a record of 11-4. Now, this guy came in, won his UFC debut on the Contender Series with a key lock, and since then, he has literally just gone winning a fight, losing a fight, winning a fight, losing a fight, and then last winning his fight. So it is time for a loss for Mr. Thomas Peterson. This guy kind of looks like me when I was in sixth grade, and I would wear my shirt in the pool, and just always wearing basketball shorts and stuff like that. And not the worst, not the best, definitely not the best, maybe not even that good. When you are getting slimed out by Shamil Blaviev, it is not the best look. So, with that all being said, I think this is kind of a clear cut case and a clear cut for this guy's ACL and MCL, going with Walter Walker in the first minute of the fight with a heel hook. Duh, no shit. Come on, what did you really think was going to happen? Abukar Vahiev versus Saeed Ismagamayev. Um, this fight is like, yeah, it's just who gives a shit. Honestly, I know I'm supposed to go over these guys, list all their stats, who I think's gonna win. I think Saeed's gonna win, but this is just such a boring goddamn fight. I could just see this a whole, like I said, wrestle in the bathtub situation where they're just crawling around each other. I don't think this is gonna be a slobber knocker. I'm gonna take a guess. There's gonna be 60 punches thrown in the whole fight between both of these guys. I'm hoping Saeed just comes in and has I believe he has a better grappling and stuff like that. So I think he's going to take away a second round finish. But even then, who cares? Who cares? Who really wants to watch this fight between all of these fucking people coming in? And I know I've been just completely coming at everybody from the Dagestan Russian, but like it's the same shit over and over again. I really don't want to watch this. And I understand there are really good grapplers coming in and entertaining grapplers from the UFC, but these guys are just clearly not one of them. This dude, fucking Vajov or whatever the fuck his name is, he has an 80% decision rate. And we all make fun of Bilal Muhammad with remember the name. This dude, nobody's going to remember this guy's name. This is just fucking terrible fight. And it is over 100 degrees where I live right now for the whole week. I would rather pull down my pants, lay my balls down on the hot concrete, and watch it sizzle my hairs away rather than watch this goddamn fight. But anyway, Saeed, just take this guy out, please. I don't want to watch either of these guys fight ever again. My apologies for that rant. I will do better. Rizvan Kuniev versus Tyrell Fortune. Rizvan Kuniev, 34 years old, 6'4", 76-inch reach with a record of 14-3, 1-1. Now, Rizvan Kuniev won his Contenders Series fight with the first round KO, came in and fought Curtis Blades, lost the decision, and then beat Jalton Almeida. And, I mean, they were just two mid fights, but it is respectable beating Jalton Almeida and defying all of his takedowns and actually pushing Almeida to the cage at some points and kind of just holding him there. He didn't really do too much with it. The Curtis Blades fight was a bit better, actually putting a good amount of damage on Curtis Blades' face. But this guy, he's pretty good. I think he's going to hang around maybe the 6 to 10 area. He's not the best, obviously, but he is a legit heavyweight. He also popped for steroids, so fuck this guy. Tyrell Fortune, 36 years old, 6'3", 75.5-inch reach with a record of 18-3, 0-2. Now, Tyrell Fortune came in, won his UFC debut against Marcin Tybura via decision, and another mid-fight, holding him against the cage, doing actually pretty well against a mid opponent like that. So this guy is better than mid, but not good, if that makes any sense at all. I think it's going to be another closer situation to the Jalton Almeida Rizvan Kuniev fight, where they are trying to strike and stuff like that, but Rizvan Kuniev is going to be pushing Tyrell Fortune against the cage, maybe around 7 minutes of control time. I don't think this is going to be an absolute terrible fight. Tyrell Fortune does have a little bit of an exciting grappling background. It looks kind of nice. And like I said, Rizvan Kuniev popping for steroids, give him that little extra strength to push you right against that cage and not be good at striking at all. So I do have Rizvan Kuniev winning a pretty easy decision. I think that's what's going to happen. Maybe Tyrell Fortune can try and get a takedown, but if Jalton Almeida can't take you down, I really don't have any hope for Tyrell Fortune getting takedown. But that's what I'm going to go with is Rizvan Kuniev via decision. And here is the people's main event with John Pork going against Damian Rizbecki. Alrighty, John Pork, 31 years old, 5'10", 68-inch reach with a perfect record of 8-0. Now, this guy put on an absolute clinic in his Contenders Series fight to make the UFC. He is a Muay Thai champion. Just crazy striking ability from this guy. Every single punch, every single kick he lands sounds so fucking hard. It just goes throughout the whole arena. Now this guy is a very legit striker. He just everything he throws is meant to kill you, absolutely take you out. And I don't know how he didn't get a TKO or a just complete knockout against his opponent in the Contender Series, but this guy is an absolute unit coming in with a great Muay Thai presence and just all around pretty great fighter. Damian Rizbecki, he's 24 years old, 5'10", with a 73.5-inch reach, and he is undefeated at 10-0. Now, Damian Rizbecki is another pretty good contender coming out and making his UFC debut. He's a regional champion and everything like that. Pretty good grappling. In his last fight, he got caught in a pretty nasty, like just older brother type of headlock, and he was able to reverse that and kind of break down his opponent in the second and third rounds. But this guy, he's a pretty good fighter, like I just said. He likes to kind of stay open a lot, and I don't think that's going to be a good idea against the John Pork. He comes in, he'll follow you through and through with a couple of strikes and lower his hands a little bit and come in, and that's just not a good idea with a Muay Thai champion like John Pork. It's just not a good idea to come in like that. And I think it's going to cost him. I think he's going to maybe try to boost his ego a little bit and come in and strike with him. And if he does, he's going to get knocked out in the very first round. And that's what I am calling it. John Pork, we are all on the pork parade. Jesus Christ. Islam Dulatev versus Wellington Turman. Islam Dulatov, 27 years old, 6'3", 75-inch reach with a record of 12-1. Now, this guy is a beast. He has not lost since his first ever fight in MMA, and since then, he has finished every single fight he has had in the first or second round. I am so excited to see this guy fight again and just absolutely crush this Can Wellington. Now, I do have a problem with this guy. It looks like he has been hanging out with Jeff Molina and Peyton Talbot too much. Look at these gosh darn outfits. They are horrendous. Like, Jesus Christ, he looks like Vector from Despicable Me in this one. It is absolutely horrendous. Unlike his fighting style and unlike his performances in the UFC. Wellington Turman, 29 years old, 6 feet tall, 72-inch reach with a record of 18-8. Now, this guy is ass. I hate to break it to you, man. You are not winning this fight. Your face is going to look like a goddamn Wellington. How fucked up it is. It's just going to be bad for this man. He is on a 3-fight losing streak in the UFC, and his whole UFC career, he is 3-6, with one of his wins being against Smiling Sam Alvey, who had the longest, one of the longest losing streaks. I think Tony Ferguson actually has it, but this man is hot shit. He's not good. Hot shit is the wrong word because he's not hot at all. He is cold. He is frozen. In fact, this guy is terrible. So yeah, it's just not gonna be good, man. I'm sorry. You're gonna get your money though. Maybe Islam can slide you something for getting that bonus, but sorry, bud. It ain't gonna be good. Steve Erceg versus Ramazan Bek Temirov. Fuck cheaters. Steve Astro Boy Erceg. He is 30 years old, 5'8", 68.5-inch reach with a record of 14-4. Now, Steve Erceg is a very, very, very decent fighter. He comes in, gets rid of the guys who are around top 12, top 15 caliber. Got rid of Ode Osborne, which is like, it's Ode Osborne. It's like, what are you gonna say? And then he did pretty dismantle Tim Elliott, but Tim Elliott's a number 14, number 15 guy. He's been around for a long time, and before that, he was on a 2 or 3 fight skid, losing to Kaikar France and Brendan Moreno, and those fights are not aging the best for him. Now, he is still a very decent flyweight, but I just don't think it's his time. I think he is running out of time, even though he is just 30 years old. I think the new competition is coming in, and they are just better than what Steve Erceg can offer. He's fundamentally sound. He's got good striking and good grappling, but I just do not think it is going to be enough to stop this roid monster. Ramazanbek Timarov, he's 29 years old, 5'4", 63-inch reach with a record of 19-2. And now this guy has not been around long, and he had to be on pause because, again, he popped for steroids. Now, he is a really good fighter. With that record of 19-2, you know what you are getting. He is not just a can. He is coming around, and he is battling Charles Johnson and just shutting down everybody else. I mean, he hasn't lost in over or near 7 years, and this is kind of feel like a Cheeto Vera situation. I feel like with this Steve Erceg bout, Steve Erceg is just going to be coming and piecing him up this whole time. But I think Ramazan is just going to come in and get one little piece of that round, but it's going to be like a knockdown, or he's going to hurt Steve Erceg really bad. And I think that is going to happen in like every single round, where it's like, oh, he's getting it, and then Erceg just gets hit with a bomb, and he's going to get dropped, or he could potentially be finished. So I think I am going to go with Ramazan with a 30-27 decision, 29-28 decision. It's just so hard to kill these roid monsters and fly away like Manel Cap. Just terrible what they're doing. I mean, you can't go out and slime out the gooch like that. It's just really really bad to look. And then you grow like a really big titty. It's I hate what they're doing to the sport with these fucking roid heads. It's terrible. But yeah, Ramazan's gonna pick this up with a decision win. And for the main event, we have Magomed Ankalaev versus Bogdan Guskov. Magomed Ankalaev, he is 34 years old, 6'3", 75-inch reach, and a record of 22-1-1. Now, he is a former champion, of course, beating Alex Bahia due to unanimous decision. And I know that Alex Bahia was injured in the first fight, and Magomed was injured in the second fight. But when you kind of compare the two, you got to understand that, getting finished in the first round and just kind of quitting is a bit worse than, having a broken hand and not being able to throw strikes or anything like that. But anyway, he did beat Alex Bahia, and that is a great accomplishment in the sport of MMA. And he really hasn't lost since then, besides getting fluked by Paul Craig in his UFC debut. But this guy is an all-around beast. He has like 13 or 14 TKOs, and a lot of people like to call him boring and stuff like that. I really don't think he's that boring. I mean, he does have a personality of a cardboard box, but you can't really blame the guy. He doesn't really speak English or anything like that. But all around great fighter, and he was supposed to fight Khalil Roundtree, but Roundtree pulled up, so that gives us with Bogdan Guskov. He is 33 years old, 6'3", 76-inch reach, and a record of 18-3-1. Now, I do not think this is going to be good for Guskov. When you compare the two's best wins compared to Alex Bahia, and then going to a draw with a 42-year-old or 41-year-old Jan Blachowicz, and the only reason you got that draw was because you knocked him down in the second round, I believe, or it might have been the third round. But just comparing the two, this is not going to be a good fight for Guskov. It's just not going to be all around. He might have some good openings in the first round, maybe trying to pressure Magomed or anything like that. But I think Magomed is going to catch him in the second round with a straight and just crumbling Guskov. I mean, it's hard going against these actual top guys and not being able to just finish a Nikita Krylov or going to a decision with a senior citizen. So I think people know what's going to happen. I don't really think anybody is going to go with Bogdan Guskov. He has everything stacked up against him. So I am going with Magomed Ankalaev with a second round TKO. And that is going to do it for my first ever video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and y'all stick around for more of my videos. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will be here to upload more and more UFC content, going over the fights, predicting what is going to happen, anything crazy happening in the UFC news category. We are all going to take a look at that and much more to come. Thank you so much. Check in to subscribe, like the video, and share the video if you so please. Thank y'all. Bye-bye.